Hello guys, and welcome back to the second part of the Top Gear May car pack, and now we have with us the 2012 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, which I believe is Jeep's dedicated off-road package for the Jeep. It doesn't obviously come with the air scoop and the bumpers, but I added those on separately. The paint is very nicely done by a guy named Donut. It's powered by a 3.6 litre V6, should I say. With a 6-speed manual gearbox, which is all the better for off-roading or track use in this case. The interior is very rugged, it's bound to be, because these are America's dedicated off-road vehicles. Screw your Land Rovers, screw your Audi Q7s and X5s, it's the Jeep and Jeep all the way over in America, or a pickup truck, namely by Ford, and it has Raptor on the end. But I'm getting off topic a bit. This car is fantastic to drive. It may be a big off-road Jeep and it may have only 280 horsepower, but it shifts. It's a very quick car, and I just love sliding it around, and it's just a big hooligan car. It's basically like our equivalent of Gymkhana, but only it's in a Jeep, and it's around Mazda Laguna Seca. And the weight transfer in this car is very, very good. I wasn't expecting, a big Jeep. I was expecting tons of understeer with these big, chunky off-road tyres. But no, it oversteers quite proficiently, in fact. And one of the more favourite reasons for me to like this car, you can flick it into a turn, your car's completely 90 degrees sideways, and it will just swing the front end back round, and you'll be quite happy with this. It's a fantastic car. I definitely recommend you go out and try it. Try some hooligan driving with this car. And the Rubicon package itself basically is an off-road package for the car. Removable doors apparently, although I thought all doors were removable. Even if they were a bit fiddly. It's a very heavy-duty version of the Jeep, and sliding around the carousel has never been more fun. It is honestly one of the funnest things to do in this car. The paint is very nice. Donut did a very good job replicating a Dakar rally paint job, and I think with the Jeep add-ons that you can get with the game as well, you just put the Jeep bumpers on and the bonnet and everything. It comes with an air scoop, just in case they introduce any lake courses or off-road courses in Forza, which I don't think they're going to do. That would be highly stupid, but it would be quite fun to see a Dakar like race, racing track in this game. But nonetheless, let's move on to our next car, shall we? Right, here's our next car, guys. It's the 1990 Subaru Legacy RS, kindly painted by Gravy Mix 360. Fantastic job on the paint job, man. It's a very nice homage to Ari Vatnen's car. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Anyway, this car is powered by a 217 horsepower, 2 litre Boxer double overhead cam engine, and my god does it sound awesome. Well, let me just keep quiet for a second so you can hear this engine. How awesome is that engine? I mean, come on, let's be honest, this is the purest Subaru engine you'll ever hear, because this was the first sort of step up in the WRX range. This engine was later used in the 1992 the WRX Impreza, and has lived on ever since in its basic form, and it's such a fantastic engine, such a pure sound from this car as well as that tss of the turbo as well. That's a natural sound, and this car's fantastic to throw around. You can pretty much get this thing 90 degrees sideways and still recover it. The diff, the suspension works fantastically well, throwing the power around, and it's a natural four-wheel drive experience. You won't get much more than this. But it's basically the Escort Cosworth, the Subaru Legacy RS, and the Gallant, which I will be reviewing later on. They have a more natural four-wheel drive feeling. It's a mechanical feel rather than electric. And basically I tried to do some rally in Forza, and it kind of works. I mean, I got bid there off this bit. It was quite fun. That took me about 17 attempts, just letting you know. It's such a hard thing to hit in Forza because, well, it's not a rally game. It's a simulation. Well, no, they've dropped the simulation title now. It's just a racing game. It's a very good racing game nonetheless. The car is fantastic. I'm glad they put this in the game, because I have now purchased like one for every class in the game, because that sound it makes and the way it handles and the way it feels is fantastic. Definitely recommend you should buy this for the van, the Jeep, this, the Gallant, well, all of them are brilliant, especially the Pacer, the Mirthmobile, you know, is a fantastic car. They're all fantastic cars. The Subaru is definitely one of the highlighted ones. Let's move on to our next car, shall we? The Mitsubishi Gallant VR4, its main rival. Right, here's our next car on the list. It's the 1992 Mitsubishi Gallant VR4. Painted by Lazy Harry 1, modelled after the number 19 Gallant X-Works rally car, piloted during the Safari Rally, I believe. Not sure on the driver, but still an excellent paint job nonetheless. The interior of the car, well, let's say it's plasticky at best. It's black plastic with black plastic. It's very drab and very boring. Even the engine sounds so efficient. I mean, the only thing that sounds really leery is the turbo noise. It's powered by a 2-litre double overhead cam Mitsubishi 4-pot engine, producing around about 237 horsepower. And despite having more power than the Legacy, it feels more grown up. It feels like it doesn't want to slide. It feels like it wants to go up and down motorways all day. That's what it feels like from the driver's perspective. It doesn't feel as leery, it doesn't feel like a rally car. Until you get it sideways, then you get a slight whiff of what it would have been not like to drive it back in 1992, that essence of uncontrollable rally sliding. But at the end of the day, it still feels grown up enough to make a decent tuning car out of it. I believe you can swap a rear-wheel drive to it, and you can do pretty much everything you want to it. It's a lovely car to drive, very grown up. If you want the rally performance but with a more grown up car, I definitely suggest this car. But it's not my favourite in the car pack by any means. It's still a fun car to drive, don't get me wrong. It's just I'm more of a loon. I like the vans, I like the Jeeps, and I like the Subaru, so this isn't really my cup of tea, but still nonetheless a great car. I definitely recommend you should try it just for the laugh, really. Let's move on to our next car, shall we? Right, this is our next car, guys. It's the 2012 Chrysler 300 SRT8, painted lovely by Z Nausea. Hopefully I've said that correctly. It's a lovely Zippo race paint job, and I think it goes with the car quite nicely. Unfortunately, for those who want to buy this car in, say, other countries that aren't the UK or America, the car will be called a Chrysler, no, not a Chrysler, a Lancia Thema, and you won't be able to get this gorgeous 6.4 litre, 392 cubic inch Hemi V8 engine. Oh, that is so nice to say with an American muscle car, because a Hemi engine for a Dodge or a Chrysler is like the holy grail of engines. And yeah, it definitely feels like it, with this reaching 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. Not my best run in this car, probably not getting to 0 to 60 in that huge burnout, but it was still pretty quick nonetheless. American cars are fantastic in straight lines, not so good round the corners, and I'm judging it purely on this car because it loves to go sideways. Jeremy Clarkson would love this car. Anybody would love this car. I'm pretty sure Keiichi Tsuchiya would love this car, just because you don't have to do anything to get it sideways, and you can hold it in these massive slides for constant amounts of time, and you think, hang on, am I driving a Japanese import or a V8 muscle car from Detroit? And it kind of gets really confusing at times, because the body is lovely and sleek and very European sort of designed. And it just feels right with that huge V8 up front and no rear grip whatsoever. This is a traditional muscle car in the sense that it's good to be this. Muscle cars are meant to be like this. Rear drive, front engines, lots and lots of power, no grip whatsoever. This is what appeals to me in American muscle cars. The ZR1 that can go around the Nürburgring pretty quickly, yeah, that's alright, but I want this kind of car. This kind of car is fantastic for American muscle cars. We need more of these over here, and less businessmen buying the diesel, because the diesels are horrible. They're very lumpy, and from what I've heard, not that much torquier either. So petrol V6 or the Hemi engine, yes, go for them. And of course, you know, if you've got the wallet to keep putting fuel in it every 5 minutes and changing the rear tyres every 10 seconds, yeah, I'd definitely go for it as well. Let's move on to our next car before I start yee-hawing and trying to find gorges to jump in my car. Right, this is our last car in the car pack, guys. It's 2012 Hennessy Venom GT, powered by a 1,200 horsepower, 6.2 litre LS9 twin turbocharged V8 engine, and it just sounds evil. That's why I gave it a lovely metallic black paint job to look very stealthy and very cool. Unfortunately, black on a black track does not come out very well on video, but nevertheless it's a good car. You can hear the sound of that twin turbocharged V8. That is a gorgeous sounding car. And apparently this is built in two places. The chassis is built in Heathrow in England, so it's going to be quite noisy over by the airport. All they're going to hear is the Venom being started up over and over again. And the engine is built in Sealy, Texas, so we've got some American V8 mentalness to go with the great handling chassis and body from Lotus, and it just looks fantastic, it really does. And it sounds absolutely gorgeous, especially going through the tunnel on this track. Handling, there isn't any. It's very twitchy at best. Well, it would be with 1,200 horsepower under the bonnet. Well, the boot in this case, or mid-engine, whatever it is. It slides out of the slightest hint of power because the turbos spool up very quickly. The power demand is very sharp, and for a car like this, not so good. But it's a fun car nonetheless to drive, even if it is just the once, because afterwards I think you'll be so mentally drained you will be physically ill. It is such a fun car to drive, and a little slow-mo shot of it jumping there. It cleared the crest of that hill. I was quite surprised.